You're watching the Matt to Matt Show, where we talk about...
Quiet, please.
Excuse me.
Exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Where we talk about everything that's important to you. From science and technology to pop culture and social commentary. Featuring your hosts Right Matt, Left Matt, and the disembodied voice of Joe. This is where the conversation begins. Now let's have a chat. Matt to Matt.
Unmuted.
Right as I hit the button. Good evening. Welcome back to the Matt to Matt Show. I'm grateful for all of you guys being here tonight. I am your host, Right Matt. Joining me, as always, in Joe's posh library filled with many leather-bound books is Left Matt.
What's up?
And, of course, the disembodied voice of Joe, re-embodied as good old Saint Nick.
Good evening.
Where are you?
Who, me?
Yeah. It's snowy there. I don't know.
Oh.
It's Saint Nick in a snowy place. I'm curious.
South Pole.
No, but we will be visiting there later in one of our shows about penguins. So, yeah, welcome back to the show. We on the Matt to Matt show. Somebody started texting, and my attention was drawn. We on the Matt to Matt show try to keep the conversation as lively as possible. To help us out with that, we do have the chat up on screen. Go ahead and log in and start chatting away. We do watch it, we do pay attention to it, and you can be part of the conversation. Let's go live on Facebook, shall we?
Yes.
Yes, we shall. Supposedly, this is going to Facebook here. Amor, hi. Eckert, hi. Hello, everybody. Hello. Real quick, I neglected to do this earlier, so I think I'll do it now. I will share the stream on Twitter because of all of our wonderful Twitter followers who may or may not know that the show is on. Tonight we're going to be talking about, of course, the fact that the internet is over. If you didn't hear, you will soon.
It's over.
Through form of, internet is over. Didn't you hear?
How are we getting this to them then?
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You're going to find out sooner or later because this is going to be cut off, I think, midway.
Right, so the
And,
next time that this show just cuts off randomly in the middle, it's the FCC's fault.
Exactly. If we're not here next week, you know why. We've been taken
Because we've been too neutral.
by the ghost of Ajit Pai. Yes. Thank you. They cut out net neutrality. That's us. Clever. All right. So we're going to be talking a bit about that. To be perfectly honest, I've tried to understand both sides of the net neutrality argument. I don't understand either side of the net neutrality argument. I know I'm supposed to want net neutrality, but they're taking it. So it's like, we need to fight. This is terrible. What is net neutrality? Net neutrality is bad? No, they're taking net neutrality. So net neutrality is good. Yes. But
So what was the net before
So what
Obama,
should I
then?
hate? Hate the lack of net neutrality. It's really hard to rage against the lack of something. I don't know.
What is it in the absence of neutrality? Like preferentialism?
Yeah. It's,
Internet nepotism?
well, it's net crony capitalism, don't you know?
There you go.
I don't know. So we're going to talk about that. And also, the man flu. Is it real? A scientist, who's probably a man, says it is. If you don't know, we'll get into that as well. So let me go ahead and paste this. We are live. We are alive.
Are there man vaccines? Is that what they were giving that kid?
What?
Like for the flu, right?
Giving what kid?
They were, I don't know, the one kid that they were like decided he was a girl when he was 7 years old or whatever.
Yeah, is that where transgenderism comes from? We accidentally gave you the wrong flu vaccine. We gave you man flu vaccine. You're a dude. We apologize, but hey, can't go back. It's irreversible. Let's see. Sometimes they watch the chat. Absolutely. The last couple weeks it's been pretty tough to do that. So we pay attention most of the time, even though it's right there, directly below us.
And sometimes one of us goes on a rant, and then it's on the other two to check the, you know.
Yeah. Where have you guys? I'm blaming you guys. Thank you. I appreciate that. Where have you guys been? Falling down on the job. Rage Against Something sounds like a new metal band. Rage Against Something, lack of something. Rage Against lack of something. What just happened? Oh. I accidentally turned off the backlight on my keyboard and thought, obviously my keyboard isn't working. Nope, just the backlight. All right. How was your week? Good? Everybody?
I give it a solid 8.5.
8.5.
Didn't get sick. There's
You
a
passed
plus.
them.
And I passed my finals. Got a 100 on my intellectual.
Wow.
Got a 100
That's a
on
reason
my
I'm not in college.
investments.
I didn't understand any of that. All right.
Good, man.
Okay, so let's get to a couple of our news stories for the evening. Let's hope none of these autoplay. I brought them up and paused them, so hopefully they don't autoplay. But play. All right, man flu. It's real. Researcher says. Single person.
One person.
One
person out of
Data
millions.
point.
I love how they always start these articles. Don't doubt it. Man flu is real. Or so says one Canadian researcher.
Canadian, not even a real researcher.
No, they're just.
What's wrong with Canadians?
Nah, nothing's
It's
wrong with
America's.
Canadians.
It's America's ugly hat. We like to pretend we're not wearing. That's how people. I've heard someone's. That is how I've heard someone refer to it.
How is
You know how you
Canada
can tell we don't
ugly?
like Canada because we marched all the way through Canada and took Alaska, and left Canada.
Did we go that
There-
way?
there's
Oh,
no
yeah, I guess,
there's no
yeah.
land connection between Alaska and the United States except Canada, and we're like, nah, no thanks. You can keep that part in the middle.
Well, Alaska had gold, didn't it?
The
Has gold,
Yukon,
probably.
Yukon is a province of Canada. We didn't want that gold. We don't want your dirty
Maybe it
Canadian
wasn't for
gold.
sale. I
We'll
don't
take
know.
that Russian gold. Thank you very much. Yeah. So essentially, they make this argument, really weak argument, that. So if you don't know, man flu is when the stereotypically, if a guy gets the flu, obviously it's the worst thing ever, and he's laid up in bed and he can't move, and he's just down and overreacting is usually the explanation. But they say, well, women's immune systems are probably stronger than a man's, so I guess
I wouldn't doubt it.
weakness is an explanation as to why I'm not overreacting. I'm just weaker than you are. Are those different? I guess technically.
Did you ever hear that joke where they talk about women going into pregnancy and it's like at the peak of her labor, she almost experiences as much pain as a guy with the flu.
No, but that's exactly what they're talking about. It's exactly what they're talking about. Yeah, man flu is a term used to chide men who are suspected of exaggerating their symptoms when sick from a cold or other minor illnesses. Which is funny because I thought the flu could kill you. And it was one of the most dangerous diseases. And if you don't get your flu vaccine every year, you're a terrible person who wants to kill children. However,
It seems like you're representing that side of the argument pretty
It's-
fairly.
of course,
But I have heard
That's
it's
what
like
I've always
pretty
heard.
bad for kids and old people.
yeah, well,
Like
If it's
most diseases, but that it's more likely to kill a young child than it would.
yeah, but that's a percentage gap we're talking about. Is it like
what?
really
Percent of what?
Okay, so you're saying it's more likely to harm a child than an adult, but how likely is it compared to not? That's what I'm saying.
I'm not a
saying
flu researcher.
it seems.
I'm not a Canadian flu
Speaking
researcher.
of exaggerated illnesses, no, the flu is what the flu is. We're not talking about that right now. The immunity gap. Here's a thing. Here's a thing that guys can complain about. There's an immunity gap.
I can't wait for this.
So flu vaccines work better on women than they do on men. So that's not fair. And so women can stop berating men for exaggerating their flu illnesses because it's actually not our fault. We are just
Complainers.
we're just complainers.
Right.
There's that immunity gap. So, ladies, next time your man is complaining, just know that he's in the right.
But
He's
why?
just-
Why are our immune systems weaker? Do we not eat right? Do more women eat more healthily on average than men?
Women's immune systems are set up differently because they harbor people inside them that aren't them for a while, and so their immune system has to deal with two different people. So I have heard, it doesn't talk about it specifically in this article, but I have heard that is that women's immune systems are different than men's for that reason. They have to have an immune system for multiple people.
Live stream, off stream, offline rather. It just came back. Never mind.
Oh yeah, we're like sending at a
It just
really
went
low bit rate, and I don't know why. We're plugged in, I swear.
I'd never heard that before this. I'd never heard that men had a worse time with the flu. So
You never heard that?
legit. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you've
legit.
never been married. That's why. Okay.
I'll bet that's part
Yeah.
of it. And I probably
Here-
had the flu once.
Here was my Oh no, is this messing up again? No. Okay.
More white blood cells. Oh yeah, there you go. More white blood cells.
Here is my I'm sorry. It's having the same issue it had last week. So that's fun. My assumption is something like this. Women are accustomed to some discomfort in their body at random times, and so they've learned to just deal with it and suck it up when their stomach hurts or something, or they have a headache all day. Whereas when it happens, a guy's like, what do you mean go about my day? What do you mean go to work? My tummy hurts and I've got a headache. You expect me to get out of bed? Like
As a man, I take offense to that.
that? Hey,
That
that's,
might be
that
portraying
sounds pretty
them.
accurate, though.
no, but I'm saying just it's hypothesis. It's a theory,
All right.
but we know for a fact
Let's get
guys do not experience a regular discomfort just periodically.
well, it hurts my feelings that you're suggesting.
Period-
I'm not capable of this.
Periodically, women experience discomfort, and they learn to just suck it up and deal with it, and go to work anyway. So next time you have the flu, just pop a Midol, suck it up, be a man, go to work.
Does it work? I don't think that would accomplish what. I don't know. I'm not.
Don't say that, or the placebo effect doesn't work. All right. So last week, the episode, if you didn't catch last week's episode real quick, it didn't upload to YouTube properly and it vanished into thin air. So you can't go watch that again unless you go to our Facebook page where it double streamed there and they actually kept it. And that had something to do with the output bit rate. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to pause the stream and we're going to restream. It'll probably be on the exact same link, but this might disappear if I don't fix something. So one moment, we will be right back. Don't move.
It's net neutrality. I want to switch it up.
Okay, so we're streaming.
Inside out.
We're
and turn it
streaming again.
backwards, and then
We're about to find out if it pops up because I've got it on my computer right here. Hey! We're live again. So we'll see if it's still goofing. It hopefully isn't.
looks great.
Hold on. I'm just gonna. Oh no! It keeps dropping the stream, but hey, I did my best.
Are we up?
We'll monitor
we're
that.
up.
All right. Sweet. Where was I? Oh, men are wimps. Yes. Moving on. Okay, sorry. Before we move on, let me do as I said I would. Let me bring the chat up. And is anybody saying anything interesting in the chat? Silly question. They always are.
Hey, you don't need to
guys been watching
patronize them. They don't need to be
No,
treated
they
like
need
children.
to
They do
they
say
need to
interesting
patronize
things.
us. Go to our Patreon and patronize.
Where'd these 4 people come from? We have 11 watchers now. Welcome aboard, folks.
It like doubled the. Oh no!
It's the Twitter.
Tell me that.
Oh, it
moves.
must be. I didn't know you could stream on Twitter. That's neat.
Yeah. All right.
Beggar
that's
here
what-
says, looks like the internet is dead. I need to go outside.
That made me laugh. And I laughed twice, actually, when I read it and when you said it.
You laughed because it's absurd. Who goes outside anymore? Throw on your VR headset, pretend you're on a mountain, feel better.
Not the pile
yes.
of trash mountain and
bigger
getting
hero.
over it, though.
White
You
blood
will not.
cells, Eckerd, makes sense if women's milk is incredible. Amount of immunity, NGOs. Yes, absolutely. I went to a seminar. Eckerd was talking about women's breast milk has an incredible out of immunity, NGOs, stronger immune system in general. That is 100% accurate. I got a lot of when I had my last kid, we went to this thing about that. They
Well,
were
I've heard, yeah.
They were
that's
like,
really
"No, you don't
helpful.
understand. Nothing can take the place." I was like,
Why
I
do
get
we
it.
call-
I get it. It's good. So yeah, that's why, because women have to take care of 2 people even after birth. Left Matt is in denial. Hey, he's calling you out.
I don't want to go out. I want to stay in.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I got a VR room upstairs, so you could. Let's see. You could hang out. That's fine. I am on the right outside. Cool. Outside is cold and where my job is located. Is cold a good thing?
Depends what you
Wait,
like.
is he saying I have to go outside or I don't want to go outside? It's cold and my job's out there. Why would I go outside? All right. Hey, so cool. That's good. Aha! This one was pretty cool. Researchers 3D print Wi-Fi connected objects that don't need power.
I saw that article, but I didn't read it. I was like, really?
What?
Is this cool?
It is actually kind of cool.
Like, does
so
it work?
Well, they say it does. I watched it work. I assume they're not lying. So what they do is they have these, and these aren't added after the fact. It is electrically conductive PLA, which is not implement. What do they call that? Filament, which is filament. So you can print this whole thing on a printer. You don't have to add special stuff afterward. But essentially, that is it has an antenna on it that is tuned to be picked up by Wi-Fi routers, and the frequency with it's real like rudimentary, but ones and zeros, right? That's all you need. Ons and offs. So as the thing moves, it either makes connection or disconnects with the two antennas, and it is connected by the Wi-Fi, connected to the Wi-Fi, and gives it signals of one kind or another. For example, a flow meter you can attach to your Tide detergent, and as this spins, it tells it the rate at which it's spinning, and your computer can be set up to gather that data and then automatically order more Tide off Amazon when it knows you're getting low because it sees how much has come out through your nozzle. So essentially, this is just a printed nozzle you stick on there, and it sends info to your computer. You don't plug it in, you don't charge it, there's no batteries. You just plug it in, and it starts telling your computer how much detergent you're using. How weird is that? It's weird. It's weird.
Know. I don't think anybody could have imagined that, like, before we had 3D printers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like, okay, cool, so we can, like, somebody somewhere can buy these. Like, if you had a printer, it wouldn't take a very big one, and, like, maybe 2 different kinds of filament. You just print one for yourself, you know? In fact, you could probably get 2 different kinds of filament and then make a lot of these gadgets. One for, like, the structure of it, and the other one for the electrically conductive part. Those 2 parts, boom, you could just download the instructions.
Who finds it?
It still seems pretty dubious. I mean, it's hard enough to get
Did you say devious?
regular
Or dubious?
objects to connect to Wi-Fi. I don't.
Well, it's not like it's connected to Wi-Fi. You tell your router to look for a specific frequency, and so all it does is it pings. It makes waves in the Wi-Fi signal that the Wi-Fi router is looking for, and so it's pretty much just sticking an object in the radar of your Wi-Fi that causes a blip, and then you record that blip. Here, I'll
We ask if
Show you what I
objects
mean.
made of plastic materials
Who would find this
connected
most
to the
useful?
internet without
housewives
batteries,
who need to order
electronics.
detergent just forget.
Hold up the
Imagine
thing of
if
detergent, and they're like,
a
"Oh,
3D
I'm getting
printed
low."
sensor in a Tide bottle that detects when detergent is running low and automatically orders refills with your smartphone.
Okay, automatically ordering. That's pretty cool.
Our technique, printed Wi-Fi, allows 3D printed plastic objects to send data wirelessly to any Wi-Fi receiver, like a smartphone. Using ambient Wi-Fi from any Wi-Fi router, our 3D printed devices either absorb or reflect Wi-Fi signals to convey a 0 or a
Is that
1.
Wi-Fi Texas?
At the core of our design is
Yeah,
a
see,
switch
look at that.
which is attached to a spring. A plastic gear presses against the spring, which makes contact with the 3D printed antenna made of conductive filament.
Yeah.
When the switch makes contact
See?
with the antenna,
So
the
that's all it's
signal
doing. It's
transitions
just sending out
quickly
yeses and nos.
We create an anemometer to measure wind speed.
What? You don't have an
Here,
anemometer?
We see the raw
I wonder if
time
they could do
domain
that with.
signal.
Capitalist
Note the
swine.
transitions as the gear
Yeah,
rotates.
they're gonna have to regulate this. I don't know why the government isn't already regulating
It's probably unsafe.
Wi-Fi connected. See, look, and it speeds up. It just knows the difference. How cool is that?
And then it automatically orders
also
more wind.
create
You need more, or what?
Come on. A flow meter. There's a cap that goes on that. The water does not normally just spray everywhere.
We construct input widgets, including
Look at that.
button, knob,
Look at that.
and slider.
And these don't need power.
No.
With
Bogus.
These techniques, we enable a rich ecosystem of talking objects. In this
No, I meant to pause it. I replayed it. Talking objects. How cool is that?
I think you guys are pretty cool when you're talking
But-
objects.
I'm just an object now. So, do you see how cool that could be? Like a remote that doesn't need batteries. For some reason, that's
Yeah,
all I
no,
thought.
that's really
Where he
cool that it
pushes,
doesn't
he
need
pushes
batteries.
that button, and it's like, hey, it turns on the screen or whatever it was. It did when he pushed the button and the screen changed. Like
How does it work? Like, will we do away with the need for solar power? That would be
Because-
cool.
because, as I understand it, you tell your computer through your Wi-Fi router, look for a specifically tuned frequency, and look for pings on this frequency specifically, and then your Wi-Fi router goes anything on that frequency. Poof, yeah, I'm getting hits, yeses and nos, and it looks for that specifically. So it's not like you have to tune the object. You tell your computer there's something out there. Keep an eye out for it, and then it sees it as it goes by. You know, it's like Morse code. Setting a little light, dee, 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 and it reads the Morse code. Except Morse code's far more confusing. All right. Oh, we're back on a woman's immune system. A woman's immune system, says Eat More
We
Pizza,
never left.
Yeah, they never left.
would attack her fetus without certain things the baby does, so that doesn't happen.
I just wrote it down, so I'll Google it after the show.
Google what?
The Rh positive and negative blood pregnancy.
Interesting. There is one man who has saved millions of lives just because his blood is special and can reverse the effect of blood issues between mother and fetus. Wow. Cool immune system things I wanted to mention. There you go, Left Matt. All right. This needs to be regulated to protect Wi-Fi's natural environment. It needs to be turned into a protected wetland. Funny. All right. That's not North Korea. Sorry. That's not North Korea. Not see. That was the video played way too long. And I had to stop.
Oh,
it.
that's cool.
Turn that off. Yeah, I hate that. They're like, no, really, watch my video, bro. Even YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube's like, you scroll down for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, like the video's usually not even like related. Anyway, so the continued absence of one of North Korea's top officials, General Hwang Pyong-so, from leader Kim Jong-un's side, continues to fuel speculation that he has fallen from favor and may have been executed. But we don't know. So that's life in North Korea.
Seems possible.
It's definitely possible.
That's it. That's all you're going to say about it?
Here's something.
At what point?
He definitely died. He definitely died.
Yeah,
And
probably.
that's it. That's the last straw. We're launching missiles tomorrow.
If you do want to know more about North Korea, you should listen to Michael Malice. He has some interesting perspectives on it, and he's well read on the subject.
Dude's name is Malice. How
Yeah,
do
I
I
know.
trust anything he says?
He's got cool little wing
So
tips on this.
this is a picture that scientists found.
Oh, cave drawing.
Yeah.
It looks like.
Yeah, it's when they first invented colored cave drawings. An artist's rendering compares this thing, whose name I'm not going to try and pronounce, an extinct giant penguin to a human diver, which is funny because they can't just go, here's a penguin, here's a person standing. They have to show the penguin underwater and a person underwater. I think that person, the artist, just wanted to.
Or
You know,
they're
I can draw
flying.
scuba gear.
Could these penguins fly?
I can draw scuba gear. Haha. Like they could have been standing next to each other. Penguins stand too, is all I'm saying. 5'7", weigh 220 pounds. Not a small penguin, essentially. If you don't know, that's not a small penguin.
Those could have.
Yeah.
Question about like what would happen if we introduced polar bears to the South Pole. Those guys could have taken care of themselves. It looks like.
Well, what's interesting is the fact that it's black and white. It's a fossil, so we don't know that. They only painted it that way because they think it's part of a penguin family, so they're like had to have been black and white. They wore tuxedos back then too. They were in style. So yeah, 57 million year old fossil. It's both fearsome and comical. Love things that are fearsome and comical. Long Beach penguin stood 5'7" inches tall. Boom boom. It ate. I was gonna say humans. It didn't eat humans, not back then. But it was omnivorous, so it ate meat. It ate carnivores. I almost said it ate meat. If it found you, it might have killed you. It could have been like a wild boar. You don't know, but luckily, none of us have to deal with that. So there's your South Pole.
What could have
reference.
killed them?
What?
Was it just the meteor killed all the rest of the dinosaurs too?
Well, we have penguins. They just got smaller and shorter. Yeah, like that's the theory. If these are old penguins from 57 million years ago, I don't think the meteor was 57 million years ago. purportedly.
I don't know when the
I think it was
meteor
longer
was.
ago than that. Somebody, when was the Jurassic period? Speaking of Jurassic, did you hear that they're coming out with another Jurassic movie?
You better watch. Sorry. No, yeah, the new Jurassic Park. Right?
Yeah. In the original film, they said how they resurrected the dinosaurs. Right? They had like amber.
No, in real life, didn't they just find a tick?
They
that
did.
was in a
That's what I was
dinosaur?
going to say.
Oh,
like
yeah.
they have this amber that had like mosquitoes that had sucked the blood of dinosaurs, and it was like preserved, and so they just sucked it out, and then they used to clone dinosaurs because there was DNA preserved in there. Well, they just found a tick or some ticks inside amber, and they're like, could have been feasting on dinosaurs. So apparently, that is how they resurrected an ancient dead movie franchise and started making new ones. Guess that's how that works.
The tick. you're saying.
The tick, yeah. it
Isn't there- there's
had munched on the old Jurassic Park movies, which is why after 20 years there's new ones.
we have Sharknado, so why not? I like that anymore. That's
yeah,
funny.
Penguin. Oh, hold on. I missed it. General Huang just got. Gee, these mics are hot. Just got too close to the wife. I think going back to Kim Jong Un. I think
Yeah, you gave it like 10 seconds.
no.
What was that story?
All right, hold on.
General Huang looks cool. I would like to hang out with him.
That's
That
not
guy?
General Huang.
No, I know
I
you
told
did
you
say
that's
that,
Tom Petty,
yeah.
man. You
Is
didn't know that?
Tom
I would
Petty?
not have
I
known
didn't know
if I didn't
Tom
read
Petty
that.
looks like.
Oh, come on. Show me the video. Show me the video. Here it is. All right, and then we will. Oh, come on. I just wanted to show that one picture of his face. Yeah. There we go. All right. Tell me. If you didn't off somebody once a month, no one would take you seriously as a dictator with that face. Look at that.
What? They just caught him at a bad moment.
Fear me.
He is just chubby. Like,
He-
why don't just lose weight? Go to the gym or
Because
something.
somebody said in one of our live streams,
Oh, it's
because
the rest
when
of the-
yeah, it's when you're in an oppressive society where people are starving to death. That's
That's
his way
hot.
of going. I got food. I got more food than
Yeah,
I
I
need.
guess, but consider your image with the rest of the world. We're not starving in America.
He doesn't care about the rest of the world.
Doesn't care about the rest of the world.
No.
He doesn't want to.
Why
be
do you
taken
think he wants to blow up like California? Because they're all like thin and hot and tan there. And he's
That's
like-
funny. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Nick.
So if he doesn't
That's why
off
I want to blow up. No, what?
footage of North Korea's,
All of the North Koreas.
All right. So, yeah, if he doesn't off somebody every once in a while, nobody's going
Send
to take
out
him
the
seriously.
penguins.
So here's a headline I thought I found really funny. And if you understand anything about, money, Republicans hunt for ways to pay for tax cuts. Now, what's wrong with that sentence?
I don't know. Non-discretionary versus discretionary spending.
Well, they're not paying for tax cuts, are they? They're paying for an overbloated, overspending federal government, but they don't say that.
Well, the
after-
bloating,
after
like you're
tax-
not not
after
putting
taxing-
your prejudice in that with that word is all I'm saying. It's like the word savings glut.
Did you guys know that the federal budget in the last 12 years has almost doubled? Think about 12 years ago. We're spending twice as much now as we were then. What's changed?
happy.
Government defense spending hasn't gone up very much at all. So yeah, the fact that they hunt for ways to cut taxes. If that was a household, it would be we look for ways to tighten our belt and spend less.
Is it that simple?
No, but that's the mentality. People get to keep more of their money. How are you going to pay for that? How are you going to pay for people keeping their own money? Because our large appetite and our extravagant lifestyles can't change. We just need to figure out how to foot the bill for our overspending and waste. I just thought that was a very funny way of. Apparently, I'm wrong. Is that not?
No, that's it. I don't have the exact.
Just-
but your mention about the doubling of the spending and like if we would have just kept consumption the same. No, yeah, I
Yeah.
love the comparison of it too. Adam Smith said, "The economist that the founding fathers loved," and they
That
read his
guy,
book.
the one that was popular.
Well, no, yeah, he was a big deal with the founding fathers. Said, "What is wisdom for a household could scarce be folly for a nation."
Yeah.
With regards to like financial matters, is what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's like if your spouse was like, okay, here's our financial problem, here's how we're going to deal with it. We can't stop buying, have subscriptions to HBO, Showtime, and all the expensive cable channels. We need those. You're just going to work a new job. Where was? Oh, dang it! All right, well, I actually had numbers on that, but we'll bring those up at a later time. Yeah. So. 1 sec. Let me double check these. And Charlie Lab. Yep. Okay. So federal interest rates.
It's a lot.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, they just raised them on Wednesday. The Federal Reserve.
So how does that affect my wallet?
You already have the answer right there, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I thought about going off on a big speech about this.
Let's go. We only got one more topic tonight, and if we don't get to it, it's fine. I mean, if
talking
we
about?
talk about net neutrality,
half
we'll
an
be taken
hour.
out first.
Yeah. Oh, no. So, the Federal Reserve just raised the rate at which they loan money to banks because they require banks to have a certain amount of money in their vaults every night. Reserve requirements.
What? Really?
So if they're like, hey, you don't have enough money, here's some money. You have to borrow it from us, and that's called the discount rate. And then there's another rate called the prime rate for their most creditworthy customers. But so the rate that they lend money to banks to keep the reserves at a certain level, right underneath that is the federal funds rate. And it just like bounces right beneath it. And that's the rate that banks loan to other banks if they have excess reserves to meet the reserve requirements, because nobody wants to borrow money from the Federal Reserve because the interest rates are just higher. And the other banks compete for their business by offering the loans at like slightly percentage points lower. Anyways, this rate is the foundation for all interest rates in an economy, like bonds and mortgages and someone's cost. One person's cost is another person's income. So the rate at which the bank gets charged money to borrow, it has to compare that when it's paying money on its deposits. How's it going to affect you?
Yeah.
Your savings account interest rate is going to go up very slightly. That's all.
Your savings account interest rate. So that's good.
Yeah, should be good. Mm-hmm.
So why don't they just jack that all the way up, and then
because it also affects the rate of interest that the U.S. government pays.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I wish I had the number, but I pulled something up on Investopedia actually, but it's from 2015. But so they raised it from, so a percentage point is 1/100th of 1%. So they raised it to between what is it? It's between 1.25% and 1.5%. So, and here it is. A report from 2015 by the Congressional Budget Office and Dean Baker, a director at the Center for Economic and Policy Research, estimates that the U.S. government may end up paying $2.9 trillion more over the next decade due to increases in the interest rate, and that's with a 1/4 of 1% interest rate increase.
Wow.
And I forget what. Oh my gosh, it might have been at 8 or 9% when Alan Greenspan brought it down during the 9/11 emergency. The emergency level for they'll lower interest rates so people can borrow money, which facilitates more consumption now. The emergency level he dropped it down to was 1%.
That was the emergency level.
And now we're at between 1 and 1/4% and 1.5%. I want to talk more about interest rates, but yeah, that's it. So yeah, you'll get a little bit more in your savings account, and credit card interest rates may go up if you have a variable rate.
So if you're saving, you're better off. If you're in debt, you're worse off.
Isn't that always the case?
No, I mean this will. Well,
That's great,
no,
Joe. That's actually
because if
really
interest
good.
rates went down, you'd be better off. Your bank accounts that you're saving in would be returning less, and your credit cards would be going up slower, like the federal government.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's just deferred consumption. So lowering the interest rate lets us consume now. And if you're a Keynesian, that's like a good thing, because consuming grows the economy. The economy thrives based on how much we consume. So I think according to their own theory, if we just consumed everything, like everyone stopped making stuff, and then right now we just consumed everything, our GDP would go way up and we'd be much more prosperous.
I'm sure that's. What's sad is how much credit card rewards. Like you spend a certain amount and then you get a certain amount back in points and you can redeem it. for,
Spend
like,
$20,000. We'll give you a
25.
buck.
Yeah, I get
It's actually
1.5%
mine's-
cash back.
mine- it's a little better than that. But yeah, you get,
Well,
at least for my bank, it,
preferred customer over here.
redeem it. It like auto redeems for $25 or whatever. I've made far more money from that than from any interest rate from keeping my money in a bank.
That is
it's sad.
sad, but I completely see how that's the case. The interest rates in banks. I remember when I worked at a credit union. It was about 10 years ago, and interest rates were like actual percentages, not like
0.9.
yeah, not like a percent, like a fraction of a percent. They weren't fractions of percentages on like I don't remember what they're called anymore.
CDs, certificates of deposit.
That one, CDs.
It's where you lock
Yeah.
your money up. For
What are
like
they are?
3
What are they
months
now?
and
I think it was like 2.8 then.
I'm not sure.
It was like
well, it depends
2.8%.
Where you get it, I guess. Let's see.
Um,
CDs.
But yeah, those have gone
Right.
so far down. It's like every month my savings account's like, here's a penny, and I'm like,
Yeah,
but-
I get 1
but
penny
how
from
much-
Capital One.
Yeah, but I'm like, but how much would I have to start spending before that gets to be like, or saving before that gets to be 2 pennies?
All right,
I
yeah.
wonder.
A minimum of $500 at where is it? And you have to deposit it for 5 years. You got to lock up your money for 5 years, and they'll give you 2.4% APY.
There you go. That's not as bad as I thought they were. Back then they were around that. They dipped for a long time. No, get off my page. Want me to stop ad blocker? All right. Do I love ads? No. Am I pausing ad blocker? Fine. All right. Well, here's the thing about that I wanted to mention since we brought it up. Where are you at? All right. How's the chat doing?
Yeah, they're here. I think we lost somebody. We only
I
have
was
5
gonna
viewers,
say
so
that.
us 3 plus Morgan Eckert.
Oh.
Probably.
Hey, Bager's here. Ads are not human. Where's Constantine? Is he even in there?
No, I haven't seen it.
today.
That's what happens. You have somebody on your show, they get all high and mighty. That's I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's on the record, man. Unless you just put
No,
this one down the memory hole.
Yeah,
too.
this one's gonna disappear. Yeah, wouldn't that be sad? That's not actually what happened last week. It YouTube ate our episode. But really, we just didn't want evidence that we had Constantine on. That's right. That's all.
How do you spell shenanigans?
Oh, dude, you're asking the wrong person for spelling help with a silly word like that.
Oh, just one. N, the first
All right,
one.
so let me adjust this again. I don't know why every week it looks so bad. Gamma down. Dang it. We don't need that much
yeah,
gamma.
that sounds great.
No. You guys can see those numbers now?
Much better.
That's better. All right, so let's go down real quick. We're going to compare 2004. So on the left side,
Can I just say, I love the age of information. Took
Right?
like 30 seconds, and you're like, oh, I know how much the government's spending.
so 2004.
Officially.
On the left side, we have the federal budget, right? And on the right side, we have tax revenue for the year. So if we look at 2004, where is... No. Sorry. All right, well, these are the deficits for the year. So I thought that pull those up. Tell me what it is for
What do you-
2004.
What do you need?
The
2004
actual budget. This is deficits.
for
I thought I had the budget. Federal budget.
federal budget.
Full federal spending. It may not
oh, yeah,
be
it's offline. Yeah.
reconnection successful.
Oh, it went back up.
All right.
I don't see the problem. Don't you think all the spending that the government's doing with these new revenues and the revenues they're not
What
getting,
are they spending?
So
it on?
here's what happened, right? Let's follow this trail up from 2004. And here I'm going to point out
Oh,
what
wait,
it is.
What did you want from 2004? It said
How much was the total federal budget?
Oh,
You could probably just add the deficit, or technically subtract those numbers in the deficit to get the.
total receipts,
Definitely
spending.
not.
total outlays.
So
That's what I have. Total receipts, and total outlays.
Outlays.
Total outlays were in millions. So 2 billion. That can't be right. That's millions. So 2 trillion, 2.3 trillion.
2.3 trillion. So about you're right. About 2.3 trillion. So if in 2011 they were spending 2.3 trillion, we'd be breaking even, right?
In theory.
in theory, if they were spending the same. 2011. How were we 1.6 trillion over budget? 1.6 trillion over budget. We finally went from 2004, and then in 2011 we're at, we're making as much as we were spending in 2004. So we're still spending that much, right? It's only been what, 7, 8 years? 9 years? How long is that? It's only been so many years. No, now we're 3 times as much over budget as we were then.
Does this take inflation into account?
No. Yes, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Numbers against each other. Well, look at what we were doing in 2011. We were $2.3 trillion in tax revenue as opposed to 1.2 trillion. It did not go up that much, but the spending sure skyrocketed. It took us that long to catch up. But then, all right, so then you fast forward to today. All right, from 2004 to 2017, $3.4 trillion. Estimated 400 billion over budget. So essentially, if we had stayed around the same spending from 2004, I know it's implausible, but
Population growth.
population growth, yes. But, population growth, obviously we're making a lot more in tax revenue. So if we had been able to keep governance spending down to a reasonable amount, do you remember what was the total budget for 2004?
2.3 trillion.
2.3 trillion. So we would be $1 trillion under budget, and we could start paying down the debt. But instead of tightening the belt and not overspending, by the time tax revenue came to catch up with it, it was already down the road. So here's my point. No,
not what's the point. That's not what I was going to say.
I thought you were going to say, so what's
why are you
the point?
saying this?
Yeah. My point is when they say Republicans are trying to find how they're going to pay for this here tax cut. Well, federal
Just do
income,
what you were doing back then.
Federal income has gone up and up and up, and it will keep going up, and it's never going to catch the federal spending. So why don't we slow down the taxing of people, and also slow down the spending of their money? Because we could tax. I guarantee. Guarantees are hard to come by.
Hey,
If they tax, that's why I pointed at you.
Nice.
If they taxed all the money, Santa looks bored. If they taxed all the
Looks like
money,
he saw ghosts.
if they taxed all the money from all the people, then what they would do is they would spend that plus about 1 trillion. Like that's what they would do. They would spend all the money they're getting plus more.
What if the effective tax rate was
Because
100%?
they can. It's like if you got a raise. If you got a raise and they're like, we're paying you way more. And instead of starting to actually pay down your credit cards, you go, sweet, now I can get cable and high-speed internet. No, you pay down your credit cards. You just got a raise that brings you a little, now you're over budget, not under budget. What do? You raise your budget. Looking at these numbers, this is absolute absurdity. And I have to point out.
Isn't that just
Look
naturally?
at this. Watch this. 2003. You guys remember who was president in 2003? Remember what was going on?
GWB.
Big war? Yeah. Let's see.
Which one?
400 billion. 2005, 300 billion. 2006, 200 billion. 2007, 100 billion. 2008, 400 billion. 2009, 1.4 trillion. Look at that. You see that?
Well, they had to jumpstart the economy.
that was
you
the
know?
bailout. Right?
Well,
TARP.
again in 2010,
And then they're
1.2
like,
trillion.
we got away with that
2011,
much, we got away with that
1.2
much,
trillion.
We got away with that much.
1.2 trillion. No, watch this. 2012, 1 trillion. 2013, 600 billion. 2014, 400 billion, 300 billion, 500 billion, 400 billion. So it's weird that for Obama's first term, not while we were waging like one of the biggest wars in decades, it just skyrocketed up to help the economy. But that's an absurd amount of spending. That many trillion in 4 years. That many trillion.
Well, if there's more money being created, more goods are available. So, everybody's better off when there's more money, I think. Like, if you just woke up and everybody just had one more zero added in their bank account before the decimal.
But that's not where
Doesn't
that money
help
goes.
if you don't have any money in the bank.
Oh, yeah, I guess. yeah, you're right.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that's federal
Fair enough,
spending. It's not necessarily, like, going back into pockets of anyone
What do you mean?
specific. Well, okay. Look, for
It
example,
goes to, like, Boeing executive bonuses.
well, it goes there if we raise defense spending. defense spending goes to building airplanes and buying them and hiring troops to, be in the military. But defense spending is always demonized as, well, you just want to pay for more wars? You just want to kill people? Is that what you're doing? So defense spending actually has not gone up much in the last 10 years. In fact, it goes up a little, comes down a little, goes up a little. Guess what has risen quite a bit in the last 10 years?
Social Security.
Pretty much welfare. Pretty much all the welfare
That's not
programs.
welfare. It's an insurance program with forced contributions.
Um,
Man, I love
I
FICA.
think this is the one.
Oh my goodness.
All right, yeah. Let's bring this
It's
guy
just
up over
beggar.
here.
We just have beggar here. Thanks for sticking me here, buddy.
Is there only one guy here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when politicians never work in their life. Haha. Hey, that's okay. YouTube will just drop this into the ether
Oh,
and
no,
it'll
wait, so
never be heard of
there's
again.
any more.
So if you look at this, right? Defense and discretionary. See what percentage that is? It's the red. See how it's going down, bumped up a little, going down.
Do you think
again.
and there
It's
could
going
be
down.
any lying? Like, do you think there could be any fraud?
Oh.
Like there is spending, but it's just not admitted to?
No, I'm saying when the federal spending goes up, percentage of defense spending is going down. So if it went up with it, that would be, yes, the money is going, we're spending more, but at least it's going to places like, factories to build airplanes and bullets. Net interest. Tiny little piece at the top. Non-defense discretionary is that other one, which has stayed generally the same. Mandatory spending, which doesn't show what it is, but it's Social Security, welfare, unemployment, things like that. So not necessarily job creators, but not the worst things in the world. Oh, wait, I think I just cut it off. Gross domestic product. That is a
Anybody
big
want to
number.
guess what Japan's debt to GDP ratio is?
So
No.
essentially, my only point was,
I wanna know,
obviously,
though.
that mentality of how are they going to pay for these tax cuts is, well, how about we just roll back the budget to a reasonably low amount back to 10 years ago spending. If we're going to be over budget anyway, here's my question. Honestly, if we're going to be over budget anyway, why not be $6 trillion over budget? Why not tax nobody? Tax nobody. Borrow all the money we need to run the government.
Can I read you a quote?
And then, I'm not
has
saying
to
this
do
is a
with-
good idea. I'm not saying this is a good idea. I know it's a bad idea.
Well, they're the only
But
people
if you-
with the ability to do that. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you didn't tax anyone, anything, everybody got full taxes back, right? Wouldn't that jumpstart the economy?
Probably has to do with faith.
Rather than, if a millionaire who's paying like $400,000 in taxes, and then they give that to other people who can then go spend it, why not just let the millionaire spend all of his million and cut out the middleman? It boosts the economy.
It only works if people believe it's going to work.
Here's a quote from Congressman Ron Paul.
If you don't clap, the fairy dies. What's up?
I don't know what that's from.
Oh, yeah.
Peter Pan.
Hit me with this one again.
Strictly speaking, it probably is not necessary for the federal government to tax anyone directly. It could simply print the money it needs. However, that would be too bold a stroke, for it would then be obvious to all what kind of counterfeiting operation the government is running. The present system combining taxation and inflation is akin to watering the milk. Too much water, and the people catch on. And take a moment and pause and think about what your debt to GDP ratio is. Like the amount that you produce in a year versus the amount that you consume.
I
And-
got a divide by zero error.
That's
Oh,
funny.
nice.
Hey,
Nice.
wait, you consume nothing? Hey,
kidding.
good for you, dude. No, but just think about that in your own. I mean, it doesn't just have to be credit cards. But so here it is. So Japan's debt to ratio in 2016. I like this. This is pretty recent figures.
Uh-huh.
240% of GDP. They were in debt more than twice as much as the amount of stuff they make. In America, guess what it was in 2016? You're not going to like this. 106%.
Why?
So, we are consuming more than we make. It's going to catch up eventually. That's my firm. I've come to dislike this, but it's my firm belief. Yeah, no, but I do believe that it's not going to be good in the long run.
Yeah, I don't. I just think it's silly. So when people are telling you, and Eckert said something earlier about the way these tax cuts are actually going to affect people, which is most people it's going to affect in a positive way. And I think we talked last week. One of my friends was like, it's not fair. The tax cut that freelancers, like musicians, I used to work as a musician, they get this special tax credit because they do their itemized deductions. But they raised the general base deduction up past that. So we don't get special treatment for deducting.
So you're better off, right?
Yeah, but so are they.
What's wrong with
And
that?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. But it's like, but now we don't get special treatment because we have to buy all our own gear. And it's expensive. It is expensive to be an actual professional musician. There's a lot of stuff you have to pay for. And usually you're better off itemizing that and going, well, this is what it costs to run this little business. But at the same time, it turns out you're actually doing better, but then so is everybody else. So it doesn't feel like you're doing better. That's because you're looking sideways instead of forward. The person next to you. No?
I missed it.
Oh.
Joe said that's how you get Matt's attention, talking about the income tax, and he was absolutely right. So I'd be willing to listen again.
No. Yeah. No, I was just saying the only reason that's an issue is when you're looking at the person next to you and going, well, they're as ahead as I am, therefore it's not fair. If you look forward and see you're closer to your goal or your budget, then it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing.
Can't you just be happy with your own
That's what I'm saying.
progress?
Be happy with your own progress. Don't look to the side of you and worry about his tax cut. Worry about your tax cut. And
No.
I love
there
it.
you go.
No.
What?
The fence is greener on the other. No.
Defense.
Creating win-win solutions is a sign of intelligence. Can't we just all win?
Win. Win.
Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to say.
Well, let me know.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
I like snow.
I like snow. Oh, no, that thing about... I got to find the study. Steph quotes it all the time, but that there is no stronger hit of a drug than control over another person, like power over another person. And they did studies with monkeys and cocaine, which sounds like a good movie, right? But it did studies, and it's they get it if they're higher on the dominance hierarchy. And now I'm starting to sound like Jordan B. Peterson. I've been listening to his videos, but no, just that idea of how much of this person's money should we take? Eckert said it earlier. Yeah, just
No.
how are we
That's
gonna
not how they think. They think how much of this person's money can they keep?
What? Keep?
Yeah. Not how much can I take? I can take all of it. How much am I going to let you keep?
Oh, well, yeah. Effectively, that's one way to think about it is if the rate can change, then what does that say about who owns the money? It means you own zero of it. Yeah, no, just what you just said. Yeah, just what you just said. Yeah. That's interesting.
So,
What? How do these people think?
so they're like, Trump wants to cut everybody's taxes and everyone's going to starve. We're not going to have enough money to run the government. You didn't have enough money to run the government anyway. All right. Net neutrality. Net neutrality rules are dead. Like I said, I don't know why, but this was so confusing. I kept thinking down with net neutrality. No, wait, down with net neutrality. I don't like people who don't like it's confusing to me for some reason. I get the gist of it, but it's a difficult thing to get behind. They're dead. Will my internet bills go up? So I've found this to be very confusing, not as in I don't understand what it is. I have a hard time understanding why people find it to be a problem. And I trust people that this is a problem, but I still have yet to understand why. So why is
From what
net
I've read on
neutrality
Reddit.
being gone a problem?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done super research in it, but from the I'm totally unbiased opinions I've gotten on Reddit, it's your internet service provider could charge you separately for different services. It's I'll stick with the classics, but you like Amazon, you like Netflix, you like Google, you like Facebook. Did I already say Facebook? Whatever. The FANG stocks is what I was trying to stick to. You like these services? All right. I'll sell each of them to you, access to them for $10 a month. And if you want to go anywhere else, then it's it'll charge you more, something to that effect.
Okay.
There's just preferential treatment for certain kinds of website access is what I got from it. But
Yeah. I would compare it to TV channels.
Mm-hmm.
How much choice do you have in what what you see.
I have a lot of choice.
You,
If I don't want any channels, I can opt for no channels,
Oh.
which is what I do because it's bundled with my internet. And they say, internet plus how many channels? I say, no channels, please. They're like, well,
Okay, well,
7
now-
channels are free. And I go, well, I mean,
I want
throw those in
0.
if you want, but I'm not going to be using HBO. Don't charge me for it. Whereas, as I understand it right now, internet service providers are just charging everyone an evened amount for everyone using HBO. So if television worked with net neutrality, everyone would have to pay for Showtime and HBO and all the other ones that are expensive but everyone
Showtime.
it would even out.
With TV,
So
though,
people who
it's a
wanna watch-
one-way communication.
So, but for people who want to watch HBO, they would be paying more. They pay more now because it's itemized. But people who don't want to watch HBO would pay more if it was leveled out. So I would then be paying for you watching HBO.
I don't want to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But your HBO bill would go down, and it would be even with mine, even though I don't use HBO. It seems like that's what people
I'm
are
not
arguing.
neutral with respect to that.
It seems like that's what people are saying. Like, well, I like to use all of the internet. I don't want to have to pay more than somebody else who uses none of the internet except like just to email. Now, I'm not saying there's a good thing, and I'm not saying I'm for my price going up, but the fact that we all pay the same no matter what we're doing on the internet, but we're all using different amounts of the internet
Don't you
and
pay
using
for
different
speeds,
bandwidth.
though? Like, don't they have upgrade speeds? Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you
so
say, I wanna
so
pay for
isn't
5
the
megabits per
quality
second
of
for
your
10
internet
megabits.
already up for sale?
No, I think this, like with TV,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even watch TV. There's nothing I find like it seems like a waste of my time. There's not many options for me. It's just not worth flipping through channels.
Mm-hmm.
I think the internet will become more like TV with the loss of net neutrality.
What was the internet like before the Obama ruling?
It was fine. They just were afraid it might not be fine. And so now that it's being repealed, it might not be fine again. So we're gonna go
it's
back. We're gonna go
changed,
back
it's
to the dark
changed.
ages of 2007.
It's changed though.
Can we just watch pirated shows for free?
Like
Oh.
if you look at the like what percentage of traffic that certain websites get now, like Facebook receives it like a huge amount, like most of the like a very large percentage of traffic goes just to Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that way. I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. How long do you think it'll take for this to play out?
Well,
Do
it
you think
goes
we're
into
gonna see the
effect. It goes into effect next month, I
Okay.
think. And then I don't know. People, as with a lot of things these days, this is the end of the world. It's a totalitarian regime is just going to sweep in. No one's going to be able to stop it. Your rates are just going to go up. Does anybody remember a couple months ago when Netflix raised its rate by $2.50?
Yeah.
Was that the end of the world for everyone?
I mean, just
Because
for
people are going to say, well,
who-
Netflix is going to have to raise its price. It just did. And everybody went, oh, by the way, Netflix is raising their price. Interesting. And they moved on. Like,
How will this affect your wallet?
If Netflix raises its price in 3 months up another $1, everyone's going to flip out. Everyone's going to go, see, this is what happens when you... But, like, it does happen. It has happened. It's, I don't
care about
Essentially-
Netflix, I don't have it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you use these fast lanes and other people don't, why is it unfair for people to charge you for them? Like more than any.
Hey,
just
Amor's
like the
trying to
next
answer
guy.
that question, that exact thing you just said.
Good.
Say I'm reading a blog and it has a link to an Etsy shop, but my internet package doesn't include Etsy. I can't access certain aspects of the internet, and as a business, I can't reach customers. So, small businesses will struggle to reach customers.
Okay, but Etsy is not a small business.
Okay. Different small businesses, though.
No, well, small businesses.
I'm not putting this argument forth.
Oh no, and that's I'm arguing with you because you're talking. Well, the thing is, Etsy is not a small business. Etsy is a really big platform. There are lots of people who use Etsy. Therefore, Etsy will have to deal with who is and isn't allowed on, or who can and cannot access Etsy. And so your internet service provider will say, hey, Etsy.com, which is a weird word to say several times in a row. Etsy. Yeah, Etsy. So
It's like you're saying etc. wrong.
exactly. Etsy. So it'll say, Etsy, you need to pay this amount for your, to be in the fast lane, to be an express customer. And Etsy might raise its rate to everybody else, called a pass-through, down to the customer. Well, the customer isn't you wanting to shop at the person. That those are small percentages of the people who run an Etsy store, which they pay Etsy to do. They might have to be charged a little more to pay for their Etsy store. I don't know. The assumption is, well, that's going to break everyone's bank. And nobody's going to ever, if rates go up at all for anything, everything's just going to topple to the ground. Rates on things go up, is my argument. Etsy might pass that through to their customers who run these shops. They might pass that through to their customers who shop there. But Etsy is not a small business just because there's a lot of small businesses on it. Same thing with most small websites are not hosted out of a person's basement. They're hosted on like Squarespace, which is a big hosting platform. They would be the ones who talk to your ISP and say, everything on Squarespace, on our servers, can we get Fastlane? Squarespace would raise its rates $1 a month for people who run those websites. They might raise all of their t-shirts 10 cents each. Like, I don't think this is a good thing. I don't think this is a good thing, but I don't
think
see
the
why
Federal
that's the
Reserve's ruling could have come at a better time. We'll be getting 1/4% more interest per month on our bank accounts, so the Etsy charges shouldn't be too, hurtful of our budgets.
Everyone's talking about money and charges, but what about information? How does that change the control of information?
Well, how does anyone watch Fox News on TV?
I don't.
Well, I mean, like some people do. Back before there was internet, people had to get their opposing opinion to CNN and MSNBC from Fox News. Why were they ever allowed on television?
I don't know.
If they are a dissenting political voice, why were they not silenced? Why are they even allowed? Why does Comcast provide that? Why can't they just say, no, we don't like your opinions, no more Fox News?
I don't know.
Maybe
There's
they
demand
have
for it.
Money and demand.
Yeah. But if you, I don't know, man. It's the
And
classic.
you're missing it big time. Yes, it goes rip. He goes on a rip. I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to finish a thought and get it out properly. Track minds are in control of the news, shaming campaigns, YouTube. So let's see. Internet package doesn't include Etsy. I can't ask for certain internet businesses can't reach customers. One track minds are in control of the news. Think about how all business is going online. Only large businesses will be able to thrive. Okay, who do you think? Etsy. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, see, I think that's a bit of an overreaction. I hope, and I'm not arguing against you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't find this convincing. I don't find it a very convincing argument that people say, well, rates of things will go up in an indeterminate amount. Like, those kinds of things change. They do all the time. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but it's not. I don't think it's the end of the world. I have yet to have somebody tell me why this is going to harm and hinder small businesses any more than any other thing. Like raising taxes, cutting taxes. They do that, and it ripples down through, trickle down, and it ripples down through everything, and it hurts some things, and it doesn't hurt other things, and I don't understand why this is the end of the internet. I see what you're saying. This does not sound good. This does not sound like a pleasant. I'm pointing at the chat. Sorry. I do see what you're saying, but let's see. Yeah, you go on AM radio, listen to Rush, and then Fox News. This does happen. Hence YouTube and Google silencing. I like all the caps out of place. Somebody's not typing fast or anything.
YouTube and Google.
And silencing knows. You do know it says go ogle, right? Silencing views and tapering content. Imagine if Comcast started diverting attention deliberately. Remember the wall between our intelligence agencies and Patriot Act and all that? It's like putting up that wall back up for the entire internet. It isn't about the rates. It's about information, not just the money. So
If-
so.
If,
Sorry. Well, I'm here. Okay, so I'm hearing two arguments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to process that. Go. If
internet service providers really start reaming people for services they want, and then they start charging rates for more popular services, or make it prohibitive for people to access smaller businesses online, their websites, which aren't as popular as Facebook, which is just a great example because everybody uses Facebook, will there be any demand for an internet service provider that will provide access to those other websites at a reasonable charge? I.e., will those businesses, which are not treating their customers well, lose business? My suspicion is yes.
Comcast doesn't treat their customers well. I think they're on the top of the top
most
10.
hated list. Yeah.
Yeah. Will this be putting more power into their hands?
I'm not sure.
Is
I
that a
think
good
time
idea?
will tell.
I don't know if there's a setting, but I'll try turning that off. We have yet to have that actually be a problem. Okay, so well, I'm hearing two arguments. One is about this will harm small businesses because of money rates change. Money rate changes all the time. I don't think this is a good change, but I don't think it will destroy all small business on the internet. I think it will make it a little bit more difficult for some people and a little less difficult for others. As far as the information thing goes,
You remember that?
why
time?
doesn't YouTube charge money for like channels?
They're trying. They're trying to get you to do that YouTube Red. They're trying to do ads.
Yeah, but why haven't they just done it? They can, because people wouldn't go for that. People would not go for that. And they do. I am we're on YouTube. I'm fully aware of the shaming campaign and the trying to stifle people's free speech and hiding information and all of that fun stuff. But it's not like specific websites. It's not like specific websites are doing that. So much as, I mean, like YouTube. What are they going to do? Charge you extra for YouTube because YouTube has some people on there they don't like? Or charge you extra for Facebook because Facebook has some people on there they don't like? It seems like the information and ideas are fighting in a space, and that space is either barred or not. Like, how many times do you go to a website off of one of the main ones to get your opposing point of view? Imagine when SJWs find out Comcast and other big ISPs can be shamed to tapering the internet. Tapering the internet for them. Remember that time when IRS targeted Republicans? No, this isn't about rates. They can deny service to those ideas, not just charge you for them. Yes, okay, so that's what I'm saying. The rates change is not an issue. Denying service to those ideas, like you said, couldn't you go somewhere else then? Like the reason people can't get into it's a monopoly. People have a monopoly on providing the internet because they provide the entire internet. If they said, well, you know what, we're not going to allow you to access these websites, or we're going to raise rates for them, somebody else could have a monopoly on free use of those websites that Comcast shuts out. And you don't have to run a lot of infrastructure, but like cell phone companies that pop up out of nowhere and they go, we use all the towers Verizon uses and Sprint, but we only charge you $40 a month. Like, well, you're getting internet from them. It's a different thing. It's not broadband. It is broadband or it isn't. It's a different thing, but you don't think there could be any sort of innovation there? The only reason there isn't is because Comcast already goes, here's your rate, do whatever you want. Who could argue? Who can do
Then
better?
we'll increase it by 2.5% per month and see if you
every
notice.
month. Oh my gosh, that ticked me off so
Boil
bad.
the frog, dude.
You know when I figured out they were doing that? When I actually started like writing the budget, and then I'm like, okay, this month this is what we pay every month, and then it didn't match, and I'm like, why did I write the wrong number for Comcast? I didn't. They changed my rate.
I didn't even consider that aspect of it, though. Yeah, what if Comcast and name another ISP, please? So I don't have to keep saying Verizon.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
It's Comcast, Xfinity, or Verizon Fios is their big like.
Comcast, Xfinity, or Verizon Fios, or Google Fiber for like 6 cities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hadn't even considered that, the innovation. Yeah, what if people say, hey, these services suck. Let's invent something better. Yeah, that's interesting. We'll see where that goes.
well,
But
I
it's
mean-
10-10.
Oh, gee, it's 10:15.
The infrastructure is very expensive.
Well,
This infrastructure that we use now, right?
yeah, you don't necessarily
And
need
I'm not
cable.
just banking on somebody creating
Yeah.
an awesome plane that beams down internet onto us or something. Isn't that what Facebook
That
was doing with
sounds
the
like a
internet?
waste
Yeah.
of. Just be quiet. We're about to.
Okay, well, okay. So, like I said, I knew this was going to be a hot button topic, and like I said, unfortunately, I have yet to see the light on how this is the end of all time, and we're all just going to turn into Soylent Green. And
We'll take a look at this picture.
the one I'm showing.
No, the one I'm showing.
Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm a genius, and I don't have you connected.
No?
Yeah, no. I think I brought you up temporarily, and then you disappeared. So, a lot of what I've seen, you're right. It could end up having. Yeah, I was gonna say, a lot of what you're talking about could happen. I think people wouldn't like it. People wouldn't go for it. People would freak out. It's not like companies just have 100% control of what we do, and if you don't like it, take it somewhere else. Well, it's kind of what people end up doing. But like this argument here, real quick,
So I was just checking my books are still there.
very nice. This picture here, equal lanes, fast lane, slow lane. I like being able to jump on the turnpike and drive the entire length of New Jersey and not have to deal with people who are going to the store or getting home from work or whatever. A fast lane does me quite well on the highway. I don't want everyone to be in my fast lane while they're diddling around. I like having a specific spot that if you're not going quickly, don't come here and slow down my lane. I think if I'm using high-speed internet, I don't want other people who aren't sucking my bandwidth. If that's the kind of thing that they're pointing out here, like we have toll roads and they're useful. It's not it'd be great if they were free, but imagine if there was no turnpike. Being New Jersey people, imagine if there was no turnpike. You had to use 295 for everything you do.
I don't want to. I don't like the thought of doing that.
I don't like the thought of doing that either. It seems to me
Also,
that
if
this
things
is
are
that's
free,
the
they're
kind of idea.
overused. That's just an economic law. If things are free, they're overused. So there's that to consider.
So yes, I appreciate it. It's very difficult to try and keep track. And while I'm trying to logically work this out in my brain and read the chat and make sure that everything's going smoothly, which I'm looking over. It's not. We're getting the same jittering we are last week, but it is what it is. I'll troubleshoot and I'll deal with it by next week. But yes, I understand. I understand that it's super frustrating to have me come on here and say, I don't quite get it. And because the whole internet is raging right now about how terribly evil this is. And it sounds to me, stop using so much air.
Oh, jerk. That's not very nice.
So it sounds a lot like we're going to see death camps as soon as Obama becomes president. Obama is Hitler.
Wait,
that was a big thing. That was a big thing back in 2008.
Trump, you mean?
Nope. Back in 2008, Obama was Hitler. People were painting Hitler mustaches on him. People were coming to rallies and going, Obama is the worst. The country is over because Obama was elected. Then the other side did that again in 2016 when they said Trump is going to destroy this country. And it seems like, it looks like from my uninformed opinion, everyone is jumping to super far conclusions of how this is just going to be the end of the world. I hope we can fight it. I have no problem with net neutrality one way or the other. I'm not like, I have a hard time understanding that much vitriol over this issue. If you're not angry, you're not awake. I guess I'm not awake.
Woke.
So, yeah. I wasn't going to say it that way. That's lame. So, I see all of your points. I understand them. I think I just am not taking them as seriously as you are, and I should be, I guess. I don't know.
Let's see how it goes.
And I mean, and if you think it's the end of the world, it's not. Well, let's see if the world ends. Like
Yeah, you're
that's a
right.
terrible,
Fair
terrible
enough.
idea.
Yeah.
But I just haven't been sold on it yet.
Joe, final word.
Be careful who you put more power into. Be careful whose hands you put more power into. It's like the GMO debate.
I thought they were good. What debate is there? I'm just kidding.
What is one of the first commercially viable uses of GMO let's genetically modify apples so that way when they're starting to go bad, they don't look like they're going to go bad. They still look like good apples. That was one of the first things.
People.
All the bad apples.
Let's make them so they don't turn brown when they're getting old. So that way people still buy them.
Seems manipulative.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, nobody can make you buy an apple unless they have a gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. All right, we're about to jump off, but my I think my biggest hang up was in every other instance, everyone I know is like, let the free market do its thing. But this is an exception for reasons. I heard your reasons. I get them. I just don't think it takes over that far to the side of let's remove businesses' right to charge what they want and people to pick where they go. So, all right. Tell me I'm wrong. That's fine.
But tweet at us. If you're going to talk to us, tweet at us.
And
I
if you're
love
watching this
Twitter.
after the fact, hopefully YouTube lets it stay up. If you're watching this after the fact, comment below. We will read those comments. We will respond. We might invite you on the show to explain why on earth you feel so passionately so that you don't get chat blocked. But yeah, that's our show. That's our show for tonight.
Toodles.
Yeah, let's see if this works this time. Probably won't. Never does. Did that pop up in the other window? It did. Haha. I'm smarter than my machine. Can't see that very often.
See if I can get on Twitter before I have to pay to get on Twitter.
All right. So next week we're gonna be doing our Christmas special because it's the one before Christmas. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna be doing. We will let you guys know. We will let you know what it is we're going to be doing. And I think we have like 2 shows before the end of the year, right? We're coming up on a year. In January of last year, we started doing the show. So we're coming up.
Actually.
It is pretty incredible.
Was it at the beginning?
No, it was second week in January. We started the official show on this channel in February. So, yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for the. Almost said vigorous conversation. We will see you guys next week. Peace.